Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your participation in this session. My presentation will be about vocational high school students' perceptions about school life, school image, and school identification. First of all, let me introduce myself in brief. I am Mahmut working at Gaziantep University as an assistant professor of educational sciences, and I co-authored with one of my master's students in this research. First of all, I would like to give some background information about vocational high schools and vocational education system in Turkey. When we look at the Turkish context, we can see that vocational and technical education has not received much interest and emphasis when we compare with general high schools. And we have seen that they really play a really critical role in terms of producing the intermediate labor force. And during the pandemic, we have seen that these schools made a very great contribution to Turkish society and the world because they produce masks and some hygiene materials and etc. And the students who study in this kind of schools are demoralized and structurally excluded due to the social cultural positioning of the wet schooling system in Turkey. And general academic education is believed to be superior to vocational and technical education in Turkey. And for that reason, students with higher academic achievement do not prefer to participate in this kind of schools. They see it mostly as a second choice or as a last resort to attend if they have a low performance in terms of academic achievement. So there are some basic reasons behind this reality. First of all, in the late 1990s, Turkey issued a regulation which allowed the cutting or removing some points of students who study at vocational education high schools when they try to enter higher education institutions. More than 30 points were cut or removed from their total score. For that reason, they were not able to attend higher education programs, mostly four-year higher education undergraduate programs. And this caused a very serious problem among the students, and it damaged the image of these kind of schools in the society. And this regulation also affected the tendency and selection of successful schools for WETs negatively. Because there is another reason. These students were forced to participate in a nationwide exam, which also resulted in clustering of academically low achieving students into the WET system and decreased the flow of high achieving students in these schools. So here I'm going to just briefly explain my three the variables I used in this study. So the first is school climate. We can, in short, explain school climate as the quality of school life, and it's mostly about the experiences and perceptions of the school stakeholders. It's related to the experience of school life socially, emotionally, civically, ethically, and academically. And it covers four main aspects in terms of school life and related characteristics. One is safety and relationships between students, teachers, and the school staff at large, and also teaching and learning processes and the institutional environment. So a number of studies in the literature indicated that school climate really affects some school outcomes, such as students' academic, behavioral, and psychological characteristics. And also we can see in many studies that school climate is related with student achievement, and it's a significant predictor. And the second variable is school image, which relates to the predominating picture of schools among the stakeholders of the school. And it's a kind of mental model which holds cognitive, affective, and sensorial information about the organization. And the organization itself cannot control this kind of mental model actually, because it covers various elements which reflect and communicate the identity of the organization itself. It's a kind of snapshot of organization based on the experiences also, as I said. So it's related with school climate too. We can see it here too. And this is important. Why? Because this affects school choice among students, teachers, and parents. And it can be a critical tool for the improvement of school reputation. Because as I said, it's about experiences and impressions of the school stakeholders. And if schools can build a positive school image, they can recruit and retain students at their schools and spread a positive word of mouth among the society and among the stakeholders. And the third one is school identification, which is defined as an effective form of engagement comprised of students' sense of belonging in school and feeling that school is valuable. So it's different from school belongingness, because there is an important part which is called valuing. And it's about students' perceptions about their identity as students at the school, and also how they are engaged in school activities. And also here we can see that the experience of students are really important in terms of developing school identification or identity at school. So when we look at the literature, we can clearly see a relationship between perceptions and experience of school students with these, in terms of these variables. For example, in a study by Jamal Jalal, we can see that the quality of schools, physical quality, and also resources, sense of security predicts students' positive perceptions about schools strongly. So when they have better experiences at school, they can develop positive feelings, and also these positive feelings will lead to positive behaviors at school level. And we use quantitative case study methodology, and until 1970s, we can see that case study was mostly employed as a quantitative methodology. We purposefully selected 3 firmly established vocational schools to examine the interplay between these 3 variables. Why did we choose this kind of schools? Because these schools are among the first schools, among the first WET schools, vocational and technical education schools located in the province we have selected. We carried out our study, and these are mostly institutionalized organizations. A total of 386 students participated in our study, and more than half of the students were aged between 16 and 17 years old, and we had similar numbers from each grade level. And we used, okay, you can see some brief information about these schools. School A was opened in 1943, and the second one 1979 and 1941. These are the schools we worked on. We collected data from. And these were located in a large province in the southeastern Turkey, and we collected data just before the outset of the pandemic. Right. So for that reason, we couldn't complete. We had another part. We tried to investigate the perceptions or experience of students and school stakeholders through a qualitative research, but we were not able to. Right. To have a better understanding of these 3 variables. So we used 2 scales. One is school image scale by Çırak Kurt and Kalman, and the second one was by Lee et al. It was the dual school climate and school identification measure student 4. And for the current study, for the dual measure, the Chromba alpha was 96.2, and for school image, it was 94.8. And we used the SPSS program to analyze our data. And I'm just briefly show you the findings. So we can see that there were positive statistically significant relationships between these three variables. For example, between school climate and school identification at moderate level, and between school image and school climate and high level, and also between school image and school identification at moderate level relationship. And when we look at the differences in terms of students' perceptions based on gender, we couldn't reveal any statistical significant difference. And also in terms of age, we didn't reveal any statistically significant differences between students' perceptions of these three variables. And in terms of grade level, we revealed significant differences. You can here see the difference between grade levels. Our interpretation for this significance could be that at classroom level, students have different experiences. So their classroom experiences may affect their school experiences. So for that reason, between grades, there may be some differences based on their own actual experiences at classroom level. And here, okay, when we look at the regression analysis results, we can see that the image predicts school climate significantly, and also image predicts school identification again significantly, and also climate predicts identification significantly. And based on our results, we can see that these three variables were related, and we try to reveal the interplay between these three variables in terms of students' perceptions at vocational high schools. So we revealed significant positive, statistically significant, moderate, and high-level relationships between these three variables. And our results may imply the significance of building a positive school image and climate to enhance students' identification with their schools. And when students feel belonged and also valued at school, or they value school itself, they may spread a positive word of mouth about their schools. And this kind of positive image will also affect the societal image about these vocational schools. So transforming the school image of high schools, I believe, and my co-author also believe that, can be realized in two ways. First, we should change students' perceptions of their own schools through enhancing the quality of instruction and physical facilities, social activities, and human relations, because relationships are really important in terms of image, climate, and also identification. And this will change their own images. And also, we should try to change the image of these schools in the society, because as I said, there's a societal negative perception about these bad schools. So how can we do this? We should strengthen the relationship between education and employment. So when they see that students who study in this kind of schools are employed, they can make a living after getting their education from these schools, then society will try to trust or also value these schools more than before. More credit. Right. And also, when we look at the literature, these are not the direct implications, but when we look at the literature, we can see that. We can see that there are some positive, again, some positive relationships with some other positive school outcomes. For example, academic achievement and engagement, and also elimination, and also of some negative school outcomes like school dropouts, student burnout, for example. And also this kind of building a positive school climate can help to foster school change and improvement. We believe these are important things for further research. Also, some different methodologies can be used, and also some toolkits, for example, like Mahmut, yours, can be developed for this kind of schools, how they can build their image, positive climate, and positive school identification at school level. Thank you very much.